The temptation protocol. Do you have a data visualization option for this menu? The bartender's hand froze. Behind him, Manhattan glittered through rain-streaked windows, and somewhere a pianist played something slow. Ethan Cross didn't blink. His tie was loose, his posture rigid, his brain running on adrenaline and 3 hours of sleep. Macallan 18, the bartender said flatly. Single malt. Most people just point. Most people aren't optimizing a decision with incomplete information. A soft laugh from his left. He turned. She hadn't looked up from her book. The woman beside him wore cream silk, dark hair falling in waves, and held a copy of Calvino's Invisible Cities. Her other hand slid a glass toward him across the polished bar, amber liquid, single ice sphere, already sweating. Same distillery, same vintage, she said, still reading. Sample size of 1, but the ROI on this particular choice has been favorable. Data for reference. Ethan stared. She finally looked up, brown eyes with flecks of gold, a smile that was small and devastating. You looked like you needed one. The sample size thing was just a bonus. His phone buzzed. Assistant Sarah, meridian projections wrong. Data pipeline error. 2 hours before investors see it. Where are you? He closed his eyes. The merger he just closed, his masterpiece, was about to unravel. Work? She asked. Yes. Your face went from philosophical to disaster in 2 seconds. Go. He wanted to stay. He wanted to ask her name. But his phone buzzed again. The only table with decent light was the two-top by the fireplace, currently occupied by one person, her. I need to ask you something, he said, voice too formal. Let me guess, she said, finally closing her book. You want my table because of the light. You've been calculating lighting to work ratios for 90 seconds. The bar's angle is wrong, the booths are decorative, and I have the only proper lamp. Go ahead. I don't bite. She moved her book aside, making room. He sat. Her scent hit him, cedar and citrus, like a forest after rain. He opened his laptop and dove in. The error was a swapped quarter in the data pipeline. He could fix it, but his fingers were slow. His focus kept drifting to her, the rustle of pages, the soft exhale at something she read, the way she reached for her water instead of the whiskey she ordered for him. He couldn't concentrate. He was never distracted. Distraction was for people who lacked discipline. Your model's clean, she said suddenly. He jumped. What? The linear regression, she said, still reading. Beautiful fit. But you're explaining a cyclical market with a linear model. Thermometer measuring atmospheric pressure. Tools gorgeous, applications wrong. He stared. She was right. How do you were sighing. I looked. She glanced up. The data pipeline bug swapped Q2 and Q3. Fix that. The model makes sense. 30 seconds. She'd seen in 30 seconds what he'd missed for 45 minutes. Who are you? He leaned forward. I know every consultant in this city. Every data scientist worth a damn. I've never seen you. She smiled. Maybe you're not looking in the right places. You know my name. You know my firm's acquisition. You know my model's architecture. And you're just walking away? She stood, sliding her book into a leather tote. Good night, Ethan. Adjust your perspective. She disappeared through the oak doors. He sat there, heart pounding. Then he noticed the cocktail napkin where he'd been doodling, growth rates, projections, and in the center, in his own handwriting, a single word, Lumi. He didn't remember writing it. He flipped the napkin over. On the back, in a graceful hand, she'd drawn a model, 2 variables, 1 external factor, a clean logic flow. The solution to his problem. He folded it carefully, tucked it into his jacket pocket, close to his heart. His brain screamed, high priority variable. Maintain distance. Implement avoidance protocols. But he didn't delete the word. He left the bar with her scent still in his lungs. 1 week later. He was giving the keynote at a data conference. The speech was flawless, meridian acquisition, corrected projections, trust your data. He left out the part about the stranger in the jazz bar. The audience applauded. Axiom's representative shook his hand. But as the crowd filed out, he saw her in the back row, gathering her things. He excused himself and pushed through the crowd. Caught her at the coffee kiosk. Lumi. She turned, unsurprised. Good speech. It wasn't the speech. He produced the napkin, folded, edges worn. This was. She glanced at it. You kept it. I framed it. Metaphorically. He paused, feeling foolish. The model you drew, I spent 3 days integrating it. It works. But it generated 3 new questions I can't answer. I was hoping you'd help me. Over coffee. Or dinner. Or, he stopped. I'm not good at the personal part. I'm better with data. She studied him. That smile appeared. Okay. Coffee. But not here. They found a tiny place with exposed brick and mismatched furniture. She ordered for both without asking, cordido for him, oat latte for herself. How did you know what I drink? You had espresso at the bar. You didn't touch the whiskey, so you're not a night drinker. Cortado's a safe bet. She crossed her legs. You're going to ask what I do. I consult. Different firms, different projects. I don't stay anywhere long. And the real answer? The real answer is I'm a data scientist with a philosophy degree and a habit of getting involved in other people's problems. I read a lot. Travel. Collect objects that remind me of conversations. It's a hobby. A hobby. His voice went flat. The woman who solved a multi-million-dollar problem with a cocktail napkin calls it a hobby. She shrugged. Jobs have expectations. I prefer to be a variable that can't be pinned down. He leaned in. Am I a variable? A problem to solve? No. Her eyes met his. You're a system. Beautiful, internally consistent, elegantly flawed. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to see what happens when a system meets something it wasn't designed to process. And what happens? She smiled. We're still finding out. They talked for 3 hours. Game theory, Borges, city planning. She challenged him, made him sharper. When he argued form should follow function, she countered, sometimes function is so complex it looks like chaos. That's where beauty comes in. He was falling into her rhythm, forgetting to calculate, forgetting to protect himself. Now you'll ask something personal, she said as the afternoon light shifted. About my personal life. Why I was alone at the bar. He opened his mouth to deny it. I was going to ask how you learned Japanese. She laughed, surprised, delighted. That's not what you were going to ask. I know. I'm saving the others for later. Optimistic. Assuming there is a later. Is there? It came out naked, vulnerable. She traced the edge of her cup. I don't know. You're a man built on certainty. I prefer ambiguity. Different operating systems. But. He waited. But there's something about you I can't figure out. That's unusual for me. I usually know someone's angle in 10 minutes. And your theory? The one I'm leaning toward is that you're a genuinely good man terrified of his own emotions, hiding behind spreadsheets. He was quiet. Then, uncomfortably accurate. I know. She stood. That's why I haven't walked away. You're not a variable, Ethan. You're a person learning he's allowed to be one. She walked to the door. He stood. Can I see you again? She looked back. Ask me tomorrow. If you still want to. 3 days later. Sterling pulled him aside after the Axiom pre-brief. I'm not telling you how to live. But Axiom cares about reputation. Any irregular personal connections could jeopardize the deal. You've been distracted. You're not the sharpest person in the room anymore. Ethan felt heat rise. I'm fine. Are you? I'm hearing about a woman. Coffee shops. Someone not on the payroll. Sterling's voice was gentle but hard. I'm not asking you to stop. I'm asking you to prioritize. You've built a career on being untouchable. Don't let a distraction unravel it. That night, Ethan sat in his apartment, drafting messages, polite excuses, professional delays. Efficient. Logical. He didn't send any. He dialed her number instead. She answered on the second ring. Ethan? Her voice loosened something in his chest. My partner warned me about you today. About me, or about distractions? About anything perceived as a risk. He paced. If they find out about you, about us? That's a strong word for 2 meetings. You know what I mean. I know you're scared. You're trying to decide whether to push me away or protect me. Both are the same thing. Her voice was soft. You're trying to control the outcome. But I'm not a variable. I'm a person who's been patient with your fear. He stopped pacing. I don't deserve, stop. Stop trying to deserve things. You don't earn a connection. You just show up. He was quiet. The city hummed below. I don't know how to do that. I've spent 10 years building walls. That's okay. You just have to try. Even if I fail? Especially if you fail. That's how you learn what matters. Can I see you tomorrow? 3 o'clock. Same coffee shop. I'll be reading. You're always reading. I'm always waiting for someone worth putting it down for. 4:30 a.m. Rain. Ethan woke at his desk, laptop still open. He'd been dreaming of her, cedar and citrus, the rustle of pages. He reached for his phone. 3 messages from her, the last at 3:47 a.m. I think I understand why you're so afraid. It's not because you don't trust me. It's because you don't trust yourself to stay. I'm not going anywhere, Ethan. But I can't keep being the one who waits. He typed, I'm coming over. He was out the door in his pajamas, coat pulled over, shoes barely on. Rain sheeting down, dissolving the city. He stood outside her building, soaked, shivering. She appeared in the doorway, robe wrapped, hair loose. You're soaking wet. I know. 5 a.m. in the rain. Confession of love or midlife crisis? He laughed, broken. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out if you're a problem I can solve or a reality I need to accept. She stepped into the rain, letting it hit her face. Your system was never going to hold. You were always going to meet something that didn't fit. I'm afraid. His voice cracked. I've built everything on understanding the world. You're the first thing that doesn't fit. You break my system, Lumi. You break me. She placed her hand on his chest, over his heart. I've been running my whole life. Never stayed anywhere long enough to know if I was wanted. Never let anyone close enough to break me. I kept coming back to you because you looked at me like I was worth staying for. And I was so scared it would fall apart I almost made it happen myself. He covered her hand with his. Her fingers were cold, trembling. You're scared too. Terrified. She met his eyes. I've never shown anyone this. I've always been the one who fixes things, who sees through walls, who walks away before she can be disappointed. But I can't walk away from you. Then don't. Stay. Let me be the one who stays. Promise me you won't run. I promise. He brushed wet hair from her face. I've been collecting data my whole life. You're the first thing I want to experience without measuring it. She laughed, wet and broken. Most romantic thing anyone's ever said. It's not romantic. It's the truth. She leaned into him, forehead against his chest. I should have told you earlier. About the fear. About the running. I was so busy being the one who has it all figured out I forgot to let you see I don't. He tipped her chin up. I didn't fall for the version who has it all figured out. I fell for the version who pushes whiskey across a bar and doesn't look up because she's afraid she'll want to stay. She stared at him, eyes glistening. You noticed that. I notice everything about you. I just didn't know how to say it without sounding like a data visualization. She laughed, different now, less broken. You're ridiculous. I'm trying. He leaned closer. Is it working? Maybe. She touched his face. You're going to want to kiss me now. Was going to ask permission. You never have to ask. And she kissed him. Soft at first, searching. Then deeper, like a promise. Like surrender. When they pulled apart, rain still falling, sky beginning to lighten. I love you, she said, steady. I wasn't planning to. But I'm tired of pretending I don't. He looked at her, at the fear and hope on her face. I love you too. I'm terrified of it. But I'm not going to run. She smiled. Good. Because I have a 6-month consulting contract in London starting next week. I was going to turn it down, but I realized I don't have to. I could come back. If you want me to. He stared. You're leaving. 6 months. Then I'm coming back. If you want. I don't want you to leave. But I'm not going to ask you to stay. That's not who I am anymore. Who are you now? Someone who trusts you'll come back. Someone who trusts himself enough to wait. She kissed him again, no hesitation. The next morning, Sterling found him at his desk, coffee in hand. Late night? Rain. I went for a walk. Figure anything out? Ethan looked at his partner. I met someone. She's leaving for 6 months. I'm okay with that. Sterling was quiet. The woman from the coffee shop? Yes. And you're okay with her leaving? I'm not okay. But I trust her. I trust she'll come back. And I trust myself enough to wait. Sterling studied him. I was wrong. I thought you were running. But you're learning how to stay. Ethan smiled. Something like that. 6 months later. The last note was quiet. The pianist played something soft. The same bartender polished glasses. The same small table by the fireplace waited. Ethan sat alone, laptop open, a glass of Macallan 18 untouched. He'd come every Thursday night, same table, same whiskey, same hope. He was writing a document, Avoidance Protocol v.1.0, rescinded. Reason: system encountered a variable that could not be classified, controlled, or quantified. System permanently updated to include core component, trust. Addendum: 6 months later, I waited every Thursday. I didn't calculate the probability. I didn't run a model. I just waited. And I learned, waiting isn't control. It's letting go of the outcome and trusting that what matters will find you. He closed the laptop, picked up the whiskey, watched the door. It opened. She walked through, leather tote, a new copy of Calvino with a bright red cover. Her hair was shorter. Her smile was the same. You kept the table, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. I kept the whole bar. I was afraid if I left, you wouldn't know where to find me. She laughed, setting the book down. I'd have found you anyway. I'm observant, remember? I remember everything about you. The way you said my name the first time. The rain. You telling me you were afraid and breaking my heart open. Breaking your heart open? There's a difference. She reached across and took his hand. I spent 6 months in London thinking about you. About the way you looked at me in the rain. The way you said my name like a question you were still answering. I found the answer. You were never a question. You were the whole thesis. She laughed, and the sound made him lighter. The London contract is done. I'm not taking any more. I'm done running. He squeezed her hand. I'm done waiting. Good. She leaned across and kissed him, soft, warm, certain. I came back for you. I've been running my whole life, but you're the first person I've ever wanted to stay for. He looked at her, the curve of her smile, the gold flecks in her eyes. Lumi, I spent 10 years building a system to keep everything out. You walked in and I didn't even notice. Now I can't remember what I was afraid of. You're not afraid anymore, she said. You're just here. With me. That's all I ever wanted. He leaned in, forehead touching hers. I love you. I know. She smiled. I love you too. The pianist moved into My Funny Valentine, hopeful rather than sad. Rain started again, tapping the windows. Ethan didn't need to calculate it. He just let it exist. Lumi rested her head on his shoulder. I'm not going anywhere, she said. Neither am I. I've spent my whole life building walls. It's time I learned how to live without them. She reached up and touched his face. That's the best thing you've ever said to me. I've been practicing. In the amber light of the jazz bar, with rain falling and music playing, they sat in the comfortable silence that exists only between people who have stopped trying to manage the future and learned to trust the present. For the first time in his carefully constructed life, Ethan Cross wasn't afraid of the next step. He was ready for it.
Subscribe to me for more content. Subscribe to me for more content.